CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Now to Saanich, where police have a 16-year-old boy in custody tonight after a violent sexual assault that happened early this morning. Police said the victim was asleep and alone when her attacker broke in. CTV's Louise Hartland joins us now live with more on that story. Louise.
Hudson, it happened just after 3 this morning. Saanich police say officers were responding to an abandoned 911 call when dispatch made contact with a woman who said a man broke into her house and sexually assaulted her. It happened in the 4000 block of Borden Street. Police say a woman in her late 20s fought off the intruder and he took off running when police arrived. Dogs were called in, but they couldn't track him down. Detectives and forensic investigators were brought in to take over. And shortly afterwards, investigators identified and arrested a 16-year-old suspect from Saanich.
We had a robust presence in the Lake Hill area last evening. That included police service dogs as well as multiple patrol division officers. And once there was some evidence and a suspect became clear to our investigators, we did deploy our street crime unit officers to conduct some surveillance as well. That led to an arrest early this morning.
The young man is in custody and is expected to be in provincial court tomorrow. Investigators are recommending multiple charges, including break and enter and sexual assault. Saanich police say the attack appears to be random and isolated, and investigators are confident there is no risk to the general public.
All right, Louise Hartland reporting. Louise, thank you.
You're welcome.
There's a new report out on the province's justice system that says what we need is more judges, faster court dates, and better services for victims of crime. The independent report was prepared for the BC government and says we need to make a lot of changes in the way we deal with crime and punishment. The NDP's justice critic says the current system's a mess and says the Liberal government is to blame.
We have said for a long time there has to be an increase in the number of provincial court judges. The report has recommended 5 new judges immediately to deal with the existing backlogs. It's also confirmed that there are serious problems in terms of the ministry operating in silos, along with the judiciary itself, the prosecutors, everyone involved in criminal justice. They've talked more about the necessity of restorative justice. The opposition again has argued for years that more restorative justice was appropriate.
Krog says the problems within the system are there in black and white for the Liberal government to see. Now they need to act, and the province says it will. It'll respond to the report by developing an action plan that will be released in 2 stages this fall. The man who killed more than 50 sled dogs near Whistler 2 years ago has pleaded guilty to animal cruelty charges. Robert Fawcett is the former manager of dog sled firm Outdoor Adventures. He left court this afternoon after pleading guilty to one charge of causing unnecessary pain and suffering to an animal. Fawcett now faces up to 5 years in jail, a $75,000 fine, and a lifetime ban on owning animals. There was a small group of protesters gathered outside the courthouse.
I'm an animal lover, and I think that Canada has had, most of the Canadian population has had enough of animal abuse, and massacre killing like this is outrageous. And I think that it's about time that the courts give the maximum penalty to, animal abusers.
The dog's remains were found in a mass grave after details of the killings came to light through a workers' compensation claim. In that claim, Fawcett said that he was suffering post-traumatic stress disorder after killing the dogs. He said he shot or slit the throats of at least 70 dogs over 2 days, execution style, after his sledding business slowed down at the end of the 2010 Olympics. Fawcett will be back in court for sentencing on November 22nd. Now, I want to show you this from Australia, where a woman is seeing the world for the first time in a long time after a bionic eye has given her partial sight. Her name is Diane Ashworth. She had severe vision loss due to a hereditary condition. She was fitted with the prototype bionic eye in May, and it was switched on a month later. She says all of a sudden she could see. At first a flash of light, and it was amazing. The eye is equipped with 24 electrodes with a small wire that extends to the back of the eye, from the back of the eye to a receptor attached behind her ear, stimulating the retina. Researchers say bionic vision may hold the key to restoring sight for millions of people who are living with blindness or are severely vision impaired. Well, the province is investing in advanced education in the hope it will pay off for BC's healthcare system. The Minister of Education announced funding for new spots in Camosun College's Healthcare Assistant Program today in Saanich. That program, which normally holds about 90 students, is opening up 64 more spaces. The college says it'll allow more healthcare assistants to join the workforce with the skills and the training necessary to provide timely and high-quality health care.
And I think we've proven over the last number of years that we can successfully educate this number of students, and I hope that their continued trust shows that we're doing what they've asked us to do.
Students are already enrolled and are ready to hit the books. Camosun's part-time program starts next week. The full-time intake is in October.
They'll be able to work in long-term care, complex care. Sometimes they'll work in people's homes as a home support worker or in acute care facilities. There's many jobs in Victoria, so students generally have lots of success in getting work when they finish.
The province will spend $2.4 million to increase access to healthcare education across BC. Well, the start of the school year is just around the corner, and police want to remind you again tonight that means slower driving in school zones. It all starts Tuesday. Vic PD was out today to remind drivers that as of Tuesday after the long weekend, it is back to 30 kilometers an hour in school zones. They say the pedestrian traffic is going to pick up, and they want you to keep a close eye on road signs to avoid getting a ticket.
And our goal is that the kids that come to school go back home at the end of the day. And if by us being out with a uniform presence, that should be enough of an indication to go, oh, okay, let's slow her down. We're back to school, and we're all good, right? So it's the protection of the kids. That's the bottom line.
There's a new school zone this year on Lamson Street in Esquimalt. It was formerly D&D property, but L'École Brodeur is moving in for the start of classes as of next week. Well, a pair of Tour de Rock riders is nearing the end of an epic fundraising endeavor in Sydney. We first showed you this last night, the two cycling round the clock to raise money to help children with cancer. Bob McDonald and Catherine Goodyear started pedaling around downtown Sydney last night at 7 o'clock. They want to raise $10,000 in 24 hours. A good start to the $1.5 million they're hoping to be part of the fundraising in this year's Tour de Rock. Despite losing some sleep, the cyclists say it's been worth every push of the pedal.
It's been wonderful. The weather is really cooperating for us, and the people on the streets have been great. We've got great support at our tent, and so far so good.
What's unique about this event is that it's all about the kids. So the money goes to pediatric cancer research and Camp Good Times, which is a camp for kids with cancer and their families. So different in that sense, and we feel that that's a big reason why people get so involved, because, you know, a child living with cancer is just not something we want to see.
Catherine and the man they call the Bob Father will finish their ride at the Sydney Night Market this evening, and they'll be stationed at the RCMP tent taking donations, and are looking forward to seeing you there. Well, hundreds of new and excited students heading to Vancouver Island University next week had a chance to rock the VIU today. And plenty of them did. More than 700 students came out for the orientation at the Nanaimo campus. Organizers say Rock the VIU is a fun introduction to university life for first-year students. This morning, these newbies broke into teams and took off on an amazing adventure to learn more about the campus.
Venture was led by student ambassadors that went to 16 different stations on campus, had a number of different tasks and activities to do at those stations, and came back for a barbecue at noon hour. After the barbecue this afternoon, they'll go off to their faculties where they'll get a chance to meet with their faculty members.
Students from across Canada and around the world come to Vancouver Island and to Nanaimo to study at Vancouver Island University. There are more than 80 countries represented in the school's student population of 20,000.